My dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I think that you are fine by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am also fine by the kindness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dear learners, in my previous class of English first paper, I discussed on the background of 7th March speech by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and before that class I also discussed on brief life history of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. In this class I will teach from your textbook English for today. It is necessary for your English first paper. Everybody should buy this book. From this textbook, almost all the questions will come in your question paper. Dear learners, today my discussion will be on Unit 1 and Lesson 1. Lesson 1 of Unit 1 will be discussed in my today's class. The name of the unit is People. People or institutions making history. People or institutions making history, and the name of the lesson is The Unforgettable History. In this lesson, you will get the 7th March speech by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. I will read out this speech. Dear learners, I will not translate line by line from this passage. I will read out some lines and I will explain them, because the passage is very large. If I want to translate line by line from the passage, it will take much time. So I will read out and then explain the lines. Dear learners, the unforgettable history means a history which can't be forgotten. The speech which was delivered by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman on March 7, 1971 at Racecourse Ground in Dhaka will never be forgotten. Dear learners, I am going to the main point. Everybody take this book in your hand and read out with me. At the very beginning of the speech, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman told, Bhayera Amar, here, my brothers, I stand before you today with a heart overflowing with grief. You are fully aware of the events that are going on and understand their import. We have been trying to do our best to cope with the situation, and yet, unfortunately, the streets of Dhaka, Chittagong, Khulna, Rajshahi, and Rangpur are awash with the blood of our brothers. The people of Bengal now want to be free. The people of Bengal now want to live, and the people of Bengal now want their rights. Dear learners, at the very first passage we see Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman to pronounce Bhai Ramar, my brothers. He also tells that he is present there, and he is also telling that his heart is flooded with grief, and he tells all the people present there that everybody of them is aware of what was happening then, and he is also telling that the streets of Dhaka, Chittagong, Khulna, Rajshahi, and Rangpur are flooded with the blood of the people of Bengal, and he is also seen to tell that the people of Bengal wanted to be free, and the people of Bengal wanted their rights, and he also told that the people of Bengal wanted to live peacefully. And then come the next passage, next paragraph. What have we done that was wrong? After the elections, the people of Bangladesh voted as one for me, for the Awami League. We were to sit in the National Assembly, draft a constitution for ourselves there, and build our country. The people of this land would thereby get economic, political, and cultural freedom. But it is with regret that I have to report to you today that we have passed through 23 tragic years. Bengal's history of those years is full of stories of torture inflicted on our people, of bloodshed by them repeatedly. 23 years of a history of men and women in agony. Dear learners, in this passage, in this paragraph, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman cast a question for the people present there. He asked all the people present before him what the wrong was, what the people of Bengal had done wrong. And he is also telling that in this paragraph, after the elections, that means after the election of 1970, after the elections, the people of Bengal voted as one for Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and for his party Awami League. But he also asked what he got. Dear learners, we were to sit in the National Assembly. The line, we were to sit in the National Assembly, draft a constitution for ourselves there and build our country. The people of this land would thereby get economic, political, and cultural freedom. Dear learners, in these lines, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is telling that after winning in elections happened in the year 1970, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his party had right to form a government and to draft means design a constitution, and forming a government and designing a constitution, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman wanted to create a free country. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman wanted to make the people of Bangladesh independent culturally, economically, and politically. But it is with regret that I have to report to you today that we have passed through 20 years tragic years. But Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is telling that unluckily, he had to tell the people of Bengal that the history of 23 years was not a history of peace, and he is also telling that Bengal's history of those years is full of stories of torture inflicted on our people. And here Bangabandhu tells that the history of Bengal is the history of torture which was given to the people of Bengal. And he is also telling that the history of 23 years with men and women was agony, and those years were tragic for the people of Bengal, the people of East Pakistan. Then come to the next paragraph. The history of Bengal is the history of a people who have repeatedly made their highways crimson with their blood. We shed blood in 1952, even though we were the victors in the elections of 1954. We could not form a government then. In 1958, Ayub Khan declared martial law to enslave us for the next 10 years. In 1966, when we launched the 6-point movement, our boys were shot dead on 7 June, when after the movement of 1969, Ayub Khan fell from power and Yahya Khan assumed the reins of the government, and the latter declared that he would give us a constitution and restore democracy. We listened to him then. A lot has happened since, and elections have taken place. Dear learners, in this passage we see Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman to tell that the history of Bengal is the history of a people who had shed their blood and who had made their highways crimson. Crimson means reddish. The history of Bengal is the history of bloodshed, and the people of Bengal gave their blood time and time, and they also made their highways crimson with their blood, and he pointed to several years, 1952, 1954, 1958, 1966. So what happened in the year 1952? Language movement took place. Bangabandhu is telling that the people of Bengal shed blood. The people of Bengal shed blood in 1952 for establishing Bangla, and he is also telling that in the year 1954 Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his party became winners in the elections, but the West Pakistani establishment did not allow to form a government to them. And in the year 1958, Bangabandhu is seen to tell that Ayub Khan declared martial law for next 10 years. And in the year 1966, we see that Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman launched 6-point demand, 6-point movement. The main demand of which movement was to establish a provincial autonomy for East Pakistan. But his proposals, his 6-point demands were rejected by West Pakistani establishment. And in the year 1969, we see Ayub Khan to fall from the government, and the reins of the government were taken by General Yahya Khan. And after coming to the power, General Yahya Khan declared that he would give the people of Bengal a constitution and he would restore democracy. And here Bangabandhu is telling that the people of Bengal listen to General Yahya Khan, and Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is also telling that a lot has happened, and election in the year 1970 also took place. Dear learners, in my next class I will discuss next parts. Till then, Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.